Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network, the #1 media network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports is ranked #1 in the universe, according to Big C. Those good old boys down south, also from the black hole in the Oakland Coliseum. I was anointed last week against the Denver Broncos, Big C. And also Charlton and Big C Sports are the only freestyle sports station in the universe, Big C. Nobody else can do it without teleprompters, and there's no producer in our ear. All Big C uses is the Bible and some moonshine, Big C. I want to say thank you and bienvenidos to all of you good old boys in Latin America. So thank you so much for following Charlton and Big C Sports, as well as across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course the good old boys from Canada. I love Canada, man. It's a great place, Big C. And of course the good old boys in the land of the free and the home of the Braves, the United States of America, Big C. But how's it going from you good old boys? I think you guys are starting to succeed from the union. People are marching all over the place, Big C. What's going on with you good old boys?
Well, Charlton, we're making everything right down there. You gotta understand the South. Gotta love to live down here, Charlton.
Yeah.
We got open ranges, we got open life. We can do just about and say anything we want to do and not worry about recession from anyone else.
Yeah. So you guys gonna take your country back, from what I understand. You, Donald Trump, and a couple of good old boys and some Cadillac Escalades, Big C. So I just thought that was, it's a great thing to have Americans so excited about what's going on in our country. And I think you started at first, Big C, how sports is not just about the Yankees 7 and the Orioles 5 and the Dodgers 6 and the Giants 3. It's not just about that. Now I even hear some of these good old boy radio stations in Northern California, the ones that are too intellectually vapid to talk about politics. They can only read you the score of the game, Big C. Now they're all trying to throw some politics and some Hollywood into their broadcasts, from the sports leaders to a couple of other good old boys, around Northern California. And before I get your comment, Big C, I want to say that this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive one, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, I know yours has the mud and all the... Is it pig's feet smell or is it catfish smell? Which one is it, Big C?
Charlton, it's a perfumous odor from all of the participants that have ridden in the car with you, okay?
Yeah.
Whether willingly or unwillingly, they have ridden along, and we've gotten along gracefully at the end of that ride.
Yeah, that's always true, Big C. But as you know, today is a beautiful November the 10th, 2016. I'm broadcasting from outside the beautiful Golden One Center in downtown Sacramento. It's an absolute jewel of a stadium, actually a gorgeous arena. Bill McDonald's doing the play call today. I actually used to do spotter in the press box with Bill McDonald when he did some work down at Stanford and Cal Berkeley. Now he's down there covering the Lakers, but he's also doing some network broadcast, Big C. Something about this arena, I haven't seen anyone touch that pink and purple $10 million rabbit, Big C, but obviously people do look at it. It doesn't look back, but it does change colors. Go ahead, Big C.
Charlton, one of the things we're known for down here is pursuing Bay.
Yeah.
And, we just haven't made it out to Sacramento yet, but, we don't mind going out at night hunting, with a little headlight.
Oh, yeah.
Some greetings on the front of the vehicle. So
yeah.
That rabbit could be spotted from a distance. If something happened to it, I couldn't be held responsible. I couldn't confirm that I was involved with it.
Well, the funny thing, most rabbits, they try to hide. When your good old boys go looking for dinner, Big C, they put lights on this thing, so he's letting you know where he is. I don't know if that's a smart thing for the Golden One Center, but I think I told you when they first opened this arena, it is a gorgeous place, Big C. It has a sign around the artwork that says, please do not touch, the artwork. Well, for $10 million and you want to touch it and lick it at the same time, they're lucky Donald Trump doesn't come out here. You know what? He grabbed that rabbit, Big C. So just be careful, good old boys. When Donald Trump comes out to Sacramento, Big C, just keeping it real, Big C. But, good old things happen in Sacramento, all over the country. Tonight, the Lakers are in town, Big C. And, Walton's turned the Lakers around a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team, but they are playing a little bit better than they had in the past. And when you think about it, the Lakers are 4-4 in the season right now. That's not a great record, but it's not bad. We're only through 8 games of the season. And ironically, the Kings with the new arena, the Kings are 4-5. They're coming back home on a home stretch. They had a nice win against the New Orleans Pelicans, also the Toronto Raptors. And now they have a chance to play Walton is kind of putting his foot on the stamp of the Lakers. There's no Kobe for the first time, and that's a shame. Your thoughts on the Lakers in Sacramento tonight, Big C?
Well, you look at the third round of two organizations, Charlton. You look at the Lakers this year, and you look at the Warriors last season, the beginning of the season. They set a record for the start of the season. I believe they were 42-3.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, going into the All-Star break with Luke Walton as the head coach. Ironically, he should have been coach of the year last year in the NBA.
Yeah.
He moved on to the Lakers. And you think about it. You say the Lakers don't have a great record. The Lakers are 4-4, Charlton. They're 500.
Yeah.
It took them to December last season to get their fourth win. So they're far ahead of the schedule that they had last week.
Yeah.
And so people are really going to have to look at Luke Walton and the quality coaching job he did. If you look at the Warriors season this year, they have in no way started out with the reckless abandon that they did last season, just going through the league as they did last year with Walton. Even though they set a three-point record last night for shooting, and won the game in Dallas against the Mavericks, but they're not the team that they were under Luke Walton, Charlton. But you have to, the NBA, Charlton, would be better when the Lakers are prominent.
Oh, yeah.
One of the flagship franchises in the league. When the Lakers, the Boston, and the Knicks. The Knicks are a long way from being there.
Been a long time.
Gotten close.
Yeah.
And with the resurgence of the Lakers this early in the season, Charlton, and hopefully they can keep it going. If the Lakers would be a 500 team at the end of the season, Charlton, that'd be the greatest turnaround story in the NBA.
Well, when you think about that turnaround, Big C, some of the games just played last night on Wednesday. It was Charlotte 104-98 over Utah. Indiana, they beat Philadelphia 122-115. That game went to overtime. Big C, Minnesota 123-107 over Orlando. It was New York 111-96 over Brooklyn. A nice East Coast showdown. What's it going to take for the New York Knicks to finally get back to prominence? When you think about the prominence, you've had teams winning in Memphis, Tennessee, of course, San Antonio. Portland's coming back strong. Minnesota's playing decent. They have a young team. And I think the Clippers are going to do very well this year. Golden State just built their organization when they started with Mark Jackson just a couple of seasons ago, Big C. Why is it taking so long for the Knicks? Is it just Carmelo Anthony's contract is too high? Are they too old? We know they're just trying to do it again, but they're in the biggest market. How come they're not even having the success that the Memphis Grizzlies are having, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I look at it in this perspective. Nobody wanted to play with Kobe Bryant in L.A.
Yeah.
As great as the Mamba was, no star player wanted to go to Los Angeles. You're talking about the greatest media market as far as basketball is concerned. No disrespect to New York.
Yeah.
But Showtime in L.A. was the game.
Yeah.
But, since Carmelo has been in New York, they've not been able to attract a top-flight free agent. Yeah. They brought in Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose's career is over. That was over 5 years.
He's always banged up.
Leg injury, and then he's had multiple injuries.
He's like Tony Romo. He's like, he just needs Jerry Jones to back him up. He's like Tony Romo. He's going to put him in. He's going to find a way to put him in the games. Go right ahead, sir.
But when you look at the young players that have been on the Knicks roster, I remember a couple of years ago when they had Lynn Sanity.
Yeah.
Jeremy Lin just lit the NBA on fire for about 20-25 games.
Yeah.
But he had to go because Carmelo Anthony wasn't getting the ball.
Yeah.
And it was his team, but Jeremy Lin also became a star.
Yeah.
Out of obscurity. And that's something that certain players can't handle, playing second fiddle after they've been the main cause for so many years. But the Knicks, it should be time that they part ways with Carmelo Anthony. I'm not saying he's still not a great player, but statistically over the past 5 years, Charlton, his numbers have decreasingly gone down, where he was a 28 point a game scorer. Now he's down to 22 this last season. So, Charlton, that is a demise in a great player. Well, 22 points is a great average, but when you lose 6 points off your scoring, Charlton, in the NBA, that means your game is not moving forward.
Yeah, that's very true, Big C. And, going down the scores from yesterday's game, and again, New York 111, Brooklyn 96. It was Washington 118, the Boston Celtics 96. It was actually Atlanta had a great game. But they played close against Chicago, but Chicago beat them 117-115. Toronto 112, Oklahoma City 102. But even with that, Russell Westbrook is playing like he's trying to be the league MVP. I know he's trying to separate himself from what Durant had last year. It's amazing what happens when you separate Batman and Robin, because they were a great 1-2 punch, Big C. But he's trying to show ever since he left UCLA that he's just as dominant as any other player in the NBA. But I don't think he's going to be a media favorite because he's too truculent sometimes. He's a lot like Muhammad Ali was. They love it when you're gone, but when it's happening, they kind of don't like that, Big C. How is Westbrook going to show people that he can match guys like Curry? He can match guys like Durant. Is he ever going to reach that level of success, Big C?
Well, he won't reach the level of success and start. I think the one thing that has rattled his career over the last 3 to 4 years is that he's such a dominant physical specimen that he's not diverse enough with his teammates.
Yeah.
Whether it was Kevin Durant or the current staff of players that they have right now.
Yeah.
He wants to be the dominant force on the court, and at times when you're doing that, you forget about interacting with teammates. As we see Russell Westbrook driving to the hole, what happens is you have to spread out your offense.
Stand back and watch.
You don't have players around to rebound.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that would happen when we saw Kobe after Shaq had left.
Yeah.
Kobe was going to get his shots up.
Yeah.
So the rest of the team all of a sudden become lackadaisical and sit around and watch. Well, he's going to shoot the ball. He's not going to pass it.
Yeah.
Kobe never averaged double-digit assists in his career. So he should have, especially in the latter part of his career, Charlton, that should have been something that should have been the high point in his career, learning how to distribute the ball. But even in his final game as a pro, where he scored 60 points, he only took 80 shots to score that.
That's it.
But,
I mean, why are you counting all the shots, Big C? Can't you just look at the scoreboard and see the point total, Big C? Can't you just do that for a change?
So all he was asking his teammates to do was get a rebound and get an assist.
Yeah.
So, but that's what we see with Westbrook at the moment, Charlton.
Yeah.
He has the ball in his hand. He's the point guard.
Yeah.
And when your point guard generally is the leading scorer on the team, it doesn't turn out for a winning season because other players are taken out of the equation. But on the other hand, if you look at his former teammate, James Harden.
Yeah.
Last night, Charlton, he had his 4th triple-double of the season. He had 35, 15, and 12.
Yeah.
James Harden, for some reason, has turned into an all-around offensive basketball player. We still don't know about his defense.
What's defense? His defense is about as good as Donald Trump's defense, Big C. All he does is deny everybody a pass. Donald Trump denies what he said, and he denies passing the ball to everybody. Big C, your thoughts?
Harden would tell other teams, you take a shot so I can go down and score.
Yeah. I think it's called cherry picking, Big C. Cherry picking is what it's called, Big C. But obviously, he's going to be, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I know that's easy to say. Everybody's going to be the Hall of Famer. But when you find a guy that can control, every time he has the ball at clutch time, you're kind of afraid that he has the ball. You got to double team him. If not, he could knock it down for you. So I like Harden, but I want to ask you too, when you look at Harden and Westbrook, they both have that same type of attitude offensively. Defensively, I like Westbrook because he's more like the Michael Jordan of defense in a sense. But if you were to choose which one of those players to have the ball with 10 seconds left, down by 1, would it be Harden or would it be Westbrook, Big C?
Well, Charlton, right now I got to go with Harden. Right now, if we were voting for MVPs of the NBA today, it would be James Harden.
Yeah.
Last night he led Houston to San Antonio, and San Antonio suffered their 3rd straight home loss out of hands of Houston, and it was from a dominant Harden offensive performance, Charlton. But we talk about how much he shoots the ball. Yeah. He scored 35 points, but you also think about him dishing out 15 assists, Charlton.
Yeah.
15 assists in today's NBA from a player, and especially a player who scores, is a phenomenal number.
Yeah.
I remember back when Steve Nash was getting all the assists in the NBA about a decade ago, Charlton, when he was in Phoenix.
Yeah.
2-time NBA MVP, played at the University of Santa Clara out there in California.
Yeah.
And, everyone sung his praise for averaging 11 assists a game.
Yeah.
The great John Stockton, who played at Utah with the great Karl Malone for over a decade, played at Gonzaga up in
Washington.
State of Washington.
Yeah.
When he averaged double assists, and they sort of set the benchmark for assist players in the NBA. And now what James Harden is doing is unprecedented because neither one of those players were 20-point-a-game scorers. James Harden is knocking down 30 points a night.
He's amazing.
Double-digit assists.
Yeah,
that is a phenomenal pace to play with. We haven't seen numbers like that, Charlton, since the great Oscar Robertson back in the 60s with the Cincinnati Royals.
Well, how'd you know about Oscar Robertson playing with the Cincinnati Royals in the 60s? ESPN didn't come out till 1983, Big C. Where you get your information? For those good old boys down south that voted us #1 in the universe, Big C?
Well, I got some people up there in the Midwest who remember things, Charlton.
Yeah, that's funny, Big C. And back to the NBA. I love your knowledge, too. I always tell people you're a historian and your knowledge is unparalleled, Big C, especially by the good old boys that try to copy your style, Big C. And also back to the NBA last night, we had the Golden State Warriors. You know, they're playing decent basketball, but they're still trying to find chemistry. They got a 116-95 win over the good old boys from Dallas. And what's going on again? Cuban, and some people want to say that Cuban should stay out of politics. The guy's a billionaire. He can stay where he wants. Unlike Donald Trump, he doesn't grab people, Big C, unless they're men, so they're big enough to fight him back, Big C. I wonder if Donald Trump's going to grab Putin when they sit down for the first time. That'll be must-see television, Big C. Your thoughts?
He might just sit in his laptop and think about it.
Did you hear that Putin wished Donald Trump much love? I mean, isn't that something a man wishes to a woman? He wished Donald Trump much love on winning the election that Russia helped him win, Big C. I just thought that was funny to wish another man much love. But all's fair in love and war, Big C. Final game in the NBA, a team that may finally challenge the Golden State Warriors and San Antonio this year without the great Tim Duncan. The LA Clippers on the Doc Rivers, 111-90 over Portland. I mean, Portland is a team that's on the up and coming. And they have Damian Lillard, who's also a rapper, Big C. We might get him on Charleston and Big C Sports. In fact, it was 111-80, so they gave a beatdown. What is it about Doc Rivers and this team is more mature? If they can stay healthy. Remember, they lost to Portland last year in the playoffs when Chris Paul broke his hand, and they had a few other injuries with Griffin too, Big C. Your thought, is this a year for the Clippers to finally make a run in the Western Conference, Big C?
Well, I'm not so sure about that, Charlton, because as I looked at the Clippers, based on talent, they've been one of the most underachieving teams in the NBA over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
When you put Blake Griffin together along with Chris Paul and the other players, DeAndre Jordan, that you've had down there, and you haven't gotten any further than the first round of the playoffs in the NBA.
Yeah.
What's it going to take to motivate these guys? You know, you play marvelous preseason, regular season basketball.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the playoffs, it's like choke city, Charlton.
Yeah,
they've had injuries, but everybody.
Wait, hold on. Did you say? Did you say choke city, Big C? Is that what you said?
I think what you got is the football.
I got that since I was riding your Escalade, Big C. I said, what in the world is that sensation? Or it could have come from the black hole because I'm still having that jersey sampled to see what kind of Gatorade they poured on me. It was warm and there was no ice in it, Big C. So I'm hoping I don't find bad results, Big C. But that's what happens when you stay in the black hole. And speaking of the black hole, this segment is sponsored by your California Lottery. What can a buck do for you for $2? And on Saturday night, you can win up to $240 million. That's what the Powerball is worth, Big C. It's already been won by Charlton and Big C Sports. And I'm telling you, I went to this church and I was telling the pastor that I had a dream and they've been coming true. We dreamt about the Cadillac Escalade being driven around in the mud. Then CNN did that. We had a dream about the NFL players going out catfishing. Julio Jones with ESPN, they did that. I told him I had a dream about winning $236 million in the lottery, Big C. And he said, let me sit down and talk to you about how much you got to give me first, Big C. Is that fair? I got to give him the money before we even won, Big C. What's going on with these preachers? He told me I had to give it to God, Big C. I said, well, I see God, I'll give it to him. But you don't look like God. I just thought that was funny. I don't know if I want God to call me the Big C. I might not answer that call, but that's a disposition I don't want to be in. But again, back to some of the world of sports. And again, I love what we do, Charlton and Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network up at Jackson Rancheria. Just yesterday, they have a fight coming up on the 19th. UFC fighting MMA martial arts up at Jackson Rancheria. And they're going to be talking about doing some interviews with Big C Sports, Big C. But I just want to get your thoughts on this whole world of the world of money in the world of sports in Hollywood and how you said it all ties together. And some people, and you know it's true, they resisted it. They just wanted guys to read the paper and read the scores. You know, I have a teenage kids that can do that, Big C. They're guys in kindergarten that can pick up a paper and read the scores. But I just want to know, what is it about you that has the whole world? You kind of prepare people for this thing that's happening with Hillary and Donald Trump, how people care so much. That's why it's painful depending on what side you're on. But I want to give the president, right now, the President Obama, a lot of respect. Just like when Bush handed over the reins to Obama, they have to have some type of kindness, even though they may hate each other when it's going through war. I think Donald Trump was such a knucklehead and such a bigot and such a fascist and a sexist, and for people to vote him president, that's their choice. But I'm just appreciative of how President Obama handled the transition is helping with class and dignity. I know inside of his heart he probably can't have any respect for a guy that even questioned his nationality. And I just want to think that, President Obama was never accused of sexual assault by any woman, especially the multitude of women that came out against Donald Trump. Let bygones be bygones. But I think it's still a joke. You can forgive somebody, but you don't forget, how does President Obama hold his head so high and talking to such a knucklehead that's going to be our president, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, is called class and character, and we've always seen that exuded from the President of the United States.
Yeah.
He has carried nothing but class and character through his office. And you think about how resounding he has been as far as his participation and support and help of the American citizens, Charlton, over the past 8 years. What he has done for America. There's many of people said he hasn't done a thing for America. He's put America in debt. America's in the worst state it's ever been. You think about what this man inherited, Charlton, back in after 2007.
Yeah.
After we'd gone through one of the worst financial crises in American history.
Yeah.
He ended 2 wars, saved many American lives. No one gives him credit for the amount of American lives that he saved ending 2 wars.
Yeah.
Named Americans that came back from the Middle Eastern War, a war that we had no reason to be at, Charlton, because those people were not going to come into America.
Yeah.
We were intervening in someone else's world. You think about the financial structure, the banking, the housing industry, how it had got to prior to his, getting into office, Charlton, how he balanced America back out, how he saved many American homes, Charlton, how he created jobs. He did not allow industry to leave America, Charlton.
Yeah, it was already gone. It was already gone.
This was Congress and the Senate that let these jobs and corporations leave America, not the president. And so the president-elect will not bring them back either, Charlton. So that was a misnomer that was passed on. When you talk about business, Charlton, and people talking about the president-elect creating jobs and sports and jobs, and so we cross-reference with politics and jobs, Charlton.
Yeah.
The president-elect is not the one to determine what jobs are created in America. If anyone who voted for him want to understand the jobs that he created, try being a busboy.
Yeah.
Try being a waitress.
Yeah.
Try being a maid in one of his establishments. Try being a groundskeeper.
Try not getting paid. Try not getting paid
for work that has been done. Those are the people that the president-elect has working for him.
Well,
when you look at the high-level participation, yes, he has corporate affiliates.
Yeah.
But, Charlton, he does not have the mass number of corporate-paying jobs as people want to tend to believe.
Yeah.
You have to look at the average wage of his employees, Charlton. It is not in the middle-class neighborhood.
Well, speaking of neighborhoods, Big C, this segment is sponsored by United Labor Guaranteed Life Insurance up to $100,000. Tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports at Yes Charlton. That's YES Charlton on Twitter. Also, we are endorsed by the American Cancer Society and the American Heart Association. We are also working with all of the unions under the AFL-CIO. Tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports. And if you're looking for work, we are looking to hire over 1,000 licensed insurance brokers to help put Americans back to work. Tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we are worldwide, and we're also the #1 show in the universe, Big C. I just want to bring this up before we get back into sports because we have a few more games just to touch on. And I want people to take this time as a teaching moment. And I hear guys like Mike and Mike now, and I hear guys like some local people in the Bay Area. They're all trying to do some politics. The NFL networks, they're trying to add some politics to what they're doing because that's real tough. Unless you're just a dumb person and all you want to do is drink beer and watch a game, I mean, that's for ignorant people. And I'm not trying to offend ignorant people, but I've never been turned on by them, Big C. I've also learned from people who know more than I do. And I don't mind saying that because I want people to read. And when I hear programs now saying, you think about this, we have kids going to college. They're away from their parents for the first time in their lives, Big C. I think it's a perfect time to teach people to be socially conscious because we're trying to get them to become more erudite, to read more, to be more politically inclined. And now we're telling kids just shut up and play football because if you get too smart, you might realize we're exploiting you for your free labor, Big C. Why is that changing? More and more people are being asked about their political opinion, to start with the NFL athletes. They haven't asked many of the Caucasian athletes, but they have asked many of the black ones, Big C. Your thoughts on why they're not afraid anymore to speak what's on their mind, Big C?
Well, I look at it from this perspective, Charlton. There's been a lot of backlash against Colin Kaepernick from his stance on the social and political injustice in America, and then he informed everyone that he did not vote.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but it's been such a backlash for him saying that he did not vote.
Mark Cuban didn't vote either for the owner of the Dallas. He happens to be Caucasian and a billionaire, but he said he also didn't vote. And there's a lot of people in the country that did not vote. We have 365 million people, and we have a lot that didn't vote.
Let's take it this direction, Charles. Nick Saban, one of the most prominent coaches in college football, said, "I didn't have time and I forgot to vote."
Wow.
Nick Saban said he didn't vote. There's no national backlash against Nick Saban. There's no national outcry. He was too focused on getting a team ready.
Let me just ask you.
How many days did he have to vote, Charles? But he said he didn't vote.
Yeah.
But there'll be no national outcry that said Nick Saban's unpatriotic.
Yeah.
That he didn't vote.
Yeah.
But we're getting this about Colin Kaepernick. That is still a racial divide, Charles.
Well, let me ask you about that. I know you guys golf together sometimes. I'm not trying to have them not pick at the caddy. Okay. I just wonder that sometimes if you go to college, that's where you're supposed to challenge what's going on. That's where you separate the cream from the crop. That's where you find your leaders. That's why I'm proud that President Obama, he did go to Harvard. He met his wife there. A lot of intelligent people, they go into college to educate themselves. The guys who don't, they get left behind, and they got to find other ways to make a living. That may not be as pleasing, Big C, but I think, and I'm glad, this is something that's so powerful to me because it's so poignant. The majority of black athletes are recruited to these great white universities to do one thing: make me some money. Go get my money. And go get my money. And that's the attitude of it. And don't challenge me. If not, I'm going to take away your scholarship. And that's because they have a lot of power. Now they're even telling the NFL players, well, we don't want to be political. I know Tom Brady, he has a lot of accolades about being a great quarterback, but here's a guy that could be like a Muhammad Ali, and don't be afraid to lose a sponsorship. If you have integrity, say how you feel, whether it's right or wrong, because if you have a decent heart, you might influence some people to think the right way, but if you're a good old boy like Donald Trump, maybe you don't want to let people know how you feel. And I don't care who you are. Nobody's above any other person, but there's a lot of sycophants athletes that are so stupid, they want to just take the money and keep being dumb, and they have a great duty because they are role models, Big C. And the people that are marching in the street right now, they're sports guys too. They love sports. But sports will bring people together. If we can't get our athletes to be more like Muhammad Ali, why even be in the position of having influence if you're too afraid to influence people right or wrong? Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, Charlton, never in the history of the election of an American president have we've had such a social divide and display in the streets of America where people are out angrily protesting about the election results.
Yeah.
This is letting you know that we're still a country of unsettled, uneased people.
Yeah.
Because they feel that their vote was not heard. And what are elections about? Elections are about the people, Charlton. You're asked to come out and vote. You're asked to participate. And America's public, because we're not sycophants and we're not dumb people, feel that what is the purpose of us voting? If we let you win the populist vote, and so you tell us our vote does not matter, that is the problem with America. And that's why we have so much unrest in this country, because you can go out and do your civic duty as a private citizen, what you have earned the right of being an American citizen, the right to vote, what so many people have fought throughout history to preserve and have. Just like they talk about the First Amendment, Second Amendment, the Voting Rights Act, to allow Americans to vote. But you go out and vote, and there's so much fight against allowing Americans to vote, Charlton. It's almost cynical that when you think about, you have people out trying to close polls early so certain sections of people cannot come in and vote because of their work schedules. That's anti-American. You got people going to court challenging leaving polls open. And then when you do vote and you allow one candidate, Charlton, to win the populist vote of the people. And I think that's the way the Constitution speaks. We the people, of the people, for the people. But that's not being used in politics. Yes, you are the people, but we're not listening to the people. And that's what has the American people in such an upheaval, Charlton, is that politics is not listening to the people, it's listening to their lobbyists. That's who they're listening to. It's because the lobbyists pay them. They're listening to their constituents talking about how can we get pork bellies for later to help us out wants to wear out of the office and help out our friends and family.
Yeah.
We don't care about the masses. When we think about the layman person out there, and I hear so many politicians talk, well, the job market is down.
Yeah.
Tell me which politician will take a 50% cut in pay to do the job. Oh, no. But I got to have a 6 weeks vacation in 6 months because my workload is so heavy. Oh, and I'm going to do that on your dime also, the public's dime.
Yeah.
So when we put term limits, that's the only thing that I appreciated that Donald Trump said, term limits.
Yeah.
Not that he can pass it because he doesn't have the right to set term limits. That comes through the
Well, wait a minute. There's no taxation without representation. A man that brags about not paying his taxes, he shouldn't have a vote over anything, BC. Plus, he lost a popular vote. But again, I don't want to let this hide. This is time for everybody to sing Kumbaya and all that stuff, and that's fine. But I want to just bring this up. It's just my opinion. I vote all the time. I don't care what people believe it or not, but I do vote. I have been Democrat and Republican. But I just want to bring this point up because it's so powerful. There's still this thing called the prison industrial complex that nobody wants to talk about. It's documented in the movie, the documentary 13th. It was also written over half a century ago by Lyndon Baines Johnson when he commissioned the Kerner Report, okay? Now they have Giuliani, wants to make him Attorney General. They want to take that unconstitutional law and make it constitutional again because they want to fill up the prisons with black boys. And that's a fact, Big C. So when you have someone even like a Tom Brady that says, well, I don't want to go out and tell my political views, he'll play football with black men, but when it comes to speaking up to say something that might protect them or their kids, I have no respect for anybody that won't do that. So many people want to say they respected the great Muhammad Ali because Muhammad Ali stood for something for all people, not about what color you are, about what gender you are. But no one can even stand up in the ring with Ali when it comes to social consciousness, and they got to keep in mind, they think Colin Kaepernick got shouted down by the media. Muhammad Ali went to prison. Okay, that's for not wanting to go off the war that Donald Trump evaded, that Bill Clinton also evaded, that the Bushes evaded. They all evaded it. Kennedy evaded, but Ali went to war. Okay, so the same thing that happened to Ali is happening right now. They're just not sending them to prison for not voting. They're sending people to prison over trumped up charges and harsh drug crimes, Big C. And that's unfortunate because most of the men that are affected by that happen to be African American. Most of the judges locking them up, they happen to be Caucasian. It is very racial. And the thing that stuns me about Donald Trump is he has such hate and good old boy speak. And now one day after he's elected, even though he lost the popular vote, people are saying, well, he really didn't mean what he said. Well, he did mean what he said. And there's a lot of people who've been lynched and hurt and sprayed with a water hose and had the police dog suck on them for that same type of vitriol, Big C. I just think it's inexcusable. I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. And you can only find that out on Charlton and Big C Sports because everybody else is shaking in their boots to talk about it. The reality is when Putin sends you a letter of congratulations and much love, there's something sinister that's happening with our presidential candidates, Big C. And I just think it's kind of scary for America.
Well, you know, when we wake up, Charlton, we're all Americans. But as you said, there's still a divide in this country. And I don't know if this divide that we have, it will ever, dissipate. And, when I look at the election, Charlton, I don't see this so much as a vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Because of the racial divide that we have in this country. I see this as a vote against what President Obama represented through his culture and through his race.
Yeah.
It was more a vote against his nationality, what he was ethnically.
Yeah.
Not against the Democratic Party, but against his ethnicity.
Yeah.
And because it was a vote against his ethnicity, people felt that Hillary would be continuing his legacy.
Yeah.
And when you look at mainstream America and having to accept the leadership from an African-American man for 8 years, never in history have they had to deal with that.
You know what?
It's the highest authority in the land.
Yeah.
This is who they had to look up to, and they could not bring him down through every scandal, and there was no scandals.
No, not at all.
They tried everything to get, but there was no scandal. This was as clean a president as we've ever had in history.
Yeah.
And that bothers people probably more than this color of his skin, Charles.
Well, Big C,
it was so squeaky clean.
I agree.
We've never had that from any of his predecessors.
I agree. And ironically, when people talk about the big race issue, Google Tim Wise, wrote a book about white skin privilege. I find more Caucasian women who are offended at this guy who's a if you look at what he does, grabbing women by the collar is called an assault. They're afraid for their daughters that this kind of good old boy behavior It was applauded, Big C, applauded by so many of the mainstream media and white males. I mean, that's just a fact, Big C. So it's not about black and white when it comes just for people of color. There are a lot of Caucasian women who are offended that this is allowed to get into the White House, but there's some people who acquiesce to it, and they don't care as long as he has money. Maybe he was right. You can do whatever you want to because you have enough money. And speaking of having money, this final segment is sponsored by Guaranteed Life Insurance by One Life America. We are the leaders in the country when it comes to final expense. We're also looking to hire over 1,000 licensed insurance brokers because we simply want to put people back to work. Tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports at Yes Charlton on Twitter. And also just keep in mind that iHeart Radio is the #1 media company in the United States. And Big C Sports has been voted #1 in the universe according to good old boys that do broadcasting without any microphones that are tied to some producer's ear. And there's no teleprompters on Charlton and Big C Sports. Anyone that wants to challenge Charlton and Big C, we do it for fun, but I'm asking all the major networks, whether you're CBS, ABC, Fox, NBC, whoever it is, Big C, I want them to have at least 1 week where you have all of your broadcasters come on with no teleprompters and no script and nothing in your ears so someone can tell you what to say, Big C. Just write down notes and freestyle because that tells people that you're really knowledgeable. And I hope that all of our brethren, since you copy a lot of things that Charlton and Big C Sports would do anyway, Big C, I hope that they'll do it at least before Thanksgiving. No teleprompters, Big C. What are your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they're taking notes everything about what we do. And when you look across the network airways, you'll see that spot. You know, all of these guys, they emulate the Charlton and Big C Sports. I mean, it's nice to have a research staff. And guys, we greatly appreciate you paying homage to us, but not mentioning our name. But let people know where you're stealing this work from. You know, it's father. And, you know, we were just talking about the separation and division in politics in America, Charlton, and socialism. It even stretches into sports. Think about this, Charlton. Richard Sherman was just fine after a hit on Dan Carpenter, the kicker for the Buffalo Bills, okay? The NFL has shown a preponderance to protect white kickers. They protected Dan Brown for a couple years. The former kicker of the New York Giants who beat the crap out of his wife on a continuous basis. 20 police reports.
20 times,
And the NFL protected him. Now they're protecting a kicker whose kick was blocked, okay? If you read the NFL rules, once the kick is blocked, the kicker is live. He becomes a player. He is no longer protected. But yet the NFL chose to fine Richard Sherman. Now, Charlton, in this last weekend, the LA Rams, the Carolina Panthers went out to Los Angeles to pay them. Cam Newton took 2 shots in the head, targeting shots, knocked down in the pockets. Not one flag was thrown. Again, this season, Charlton, 8 games into this season, Cam Newton has still not had a roughing the passer call. He's in the pocket. You're taking targeting shots to the head where you're leaving your feet as a defender and you're projecting yourself towards his head. And you make this head contact first. And they said, well, it's not a vicious hit. Now, the quarterback is supposed to be protected. Now, I see any other quarterback in the NFL, non-African American, take that shot and a flag is thrown, Charlton. Aaron Rodgers, a flag is thrown. Tom Brady, a flag is thrown. Carson Wentz, a rookie, a flag is thrown. Okay? And we can go on. Andrew Luck, Eli Manning, a flag is going to get thrown, Charlton. But the NFL says kickers are expendable like black running backs. Okay?
That's true. It seems so true because
we can find another one in a heartbeat.
We'll get another one.
There's a soccer team right down the street. We can get a kicker.
That's funny, Big C. And it's so egregious. And I just want people to understand. I'm passionate about what I do, and I appreciate the President Obama and sitting down with Donald Trump. And maybe I'm just talking because I'm speaking a real, Big C. I don't want to forgive somebody that knows that I'm legal a citizen and is insulting my kids, my wife, and even the whole race that I come from, Big C. Raising up that good old boy bigotry just to get elected, and it worked. It worked for the good old boys in the South through the politics during the days of Jim Crow. Donald Trump knows it works, and now he's going to turn him 180 today and say, well, actually, he's a decent man. I have a lot of respect for him. I mean, the guy's either a liar or he's a knucklehead, because how do you have such hatred for someone to win an election? I would respect him more if he still had that standoffish mentality, and that's why there are people marching in the streets. Everybody says, well, let's all be quiet and shake hands. I just think that's a dangerous sign to have someone, Donald Trump, the one that wants to grab your crotch now of your daughters, he now has a nuclear code, Big C. I mean, to me, that's serious. It's not just about saying, well, let's forgive each other. The guy has access to nuclear codes. The guy that says he's going to sue all the women that accused him of sexual harassment. The guy who took out an ad to put 5 black men to the death penalty that were innocent of rape called the New York 5. He now has the nuclear codes. And I know this is a sports show, but he's also on sports teams. And if we sports guys don't talk about sports and politics in Hollywood, the good old boys of the major networks won't do it because they're his good old boys, and that cronyism and nepotism has always worked in their favor, Big C. But as long as I have access to tell people my real thoughts, and if you don't believe it, just challenge it. Google it. Google 13th, the documentary. See if I'm wrong. Google the Kernick report and see if we're wrong. This has always been an issue, and they use this to exploit people, Big C. I'm proud of you and what you bring to the program. In the last few minutes, we just want to touch on a few more things with the NBA. I know there's been a lot of push by Adam Silver to have mostly African Americans because the league is about 90% African American. They don't want people showing the unity that some of the Seattle Seahawks showed, or something the 49ers showed where you take a knee. I love this country because it's given me opportunity, but I don't appreciate not being treated fairly. But if it's happening to you, if Martin Luther King would have been a sycophant and a quiet guy, we never would have had the civil rights marches because everyone would have been afraid and shaking in their boots while the good old boys had the status quo. Big C, your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, when we look at the advancement of America over the decades and over the centuries, we have still never achieved total equality in this country, even in sports. Yes, Charlton, you have teams that are minority African American, okay?
Yeah.
But that's just the team, that's just the players. We don't have them in management. We don't have them in ownership. That participation part of the echelon has been eliminated almost from African Americans.
Yeah.
So when we look around the table, it's just like sitting at the Last Supper with Jesus, okay?
Well, hold on. Did you know him too, Big C?
I'm not saying
you cannot confirm or deny. Okay, I understand, Big C.
We're going to be the church on that.
Okay.
But when you look at that, and you look at him reaching out his arms to everybody,
yeah,
it was his brother.
Yeah.
He treated everyone equal, whether it was a leper, whether it was a prostitute,
yeah,
whether it was an ill man. Charlton, he treated everyone the same.
Yeah.
He didn't cast down evil or thoughts or wishes on anybody, Charlton. But we have that consistently in America. We have such a divide, whether it's in social life or whether it's in sports.
Yeah.
If black athletes are that great, why can they not be great as coaches and in management, Charlton?
Yeah.
Why can they not participate in ownership? Why can't they not have a cut of the pie? Just because you cut them a paycheck for playing for you, it doesn't mean they want that paycheck to end, Charlton,
yeah,
when their playing days is over.
That's true.
I look at players who've been absorbed into management and ownership, such as Larry Bird with the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
Okay, he didn't play for Indiana, but they sought him out for his basketball expertise and knowledge. Look at Pat Riley, Charlton, the great Pat Riley.
Yeah.
What he's done for decades. Jerry West, Charlton. We're talking about Anglo-American players,
yeah,
who are elevated up into management and ownership of organizations. Phil Jackson, Charlton. Phil Jackson was a sixth man on the great New York Knicks teams of the 60s and 70s.
Wow.
He wasn't a star player. He always came off the bench. But look at where he is. He's the president of the New York Knicks.
Got the opportunity.
He won 6 NBA championships.
Yeah.
But who did he win those with? When Michael Jordan was on hiatus, I don't think he won one.
No, not at all. That's right.
Okay, so when Michael was around, he won. When Kobe and Shaq were playing in L.A., but Shaq there, he won championships. Shaq left. He didn't win a championship.
Are you trying to say it's the players that make a difference, Big C, and not the guys they put on the sideline to break clipboards and walk around, Big C? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, Charlton, it's like this. The Cleveland Cavaliers were also at the White House today, along with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Hanging out with the president.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, when you think about the starting lineup of Cleveland last year in the NBA Finals, Charlton,
yeah,
I'm trying to remember the complexity of the players that were in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
And they all seem, a darker shade of brown.
Well, Donald Trump is orange now, Big C. If you saw his makeup, he was orange. I don't know if he's constipated or if he just turned bright, or maybe he got access to the nuclear codes and it made him afraid, Big C. But he was orange today, Big C.
But when you think about that, Charlton, you had an African-American starting lineup. You had an African-American head coach.
Yeah.
But what African-American is in management with the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Wow.
Nobody, Charlton.
Yeah.
Nobody. So, but you can get the job done in the workforce.
Yeah.
But you can't get the job, you can't get any participation in management. This is what we have to look at. If we want to make America truly all Americans, you have to create equality. And I know Trump has been crying about, I'm going to bring the jobs back. But you also have to create jobs for minorities, Charlton.
But he's filed bankruptcy 4 times. Is he going to bring those jobs back too when he filed for BK 4 times? Big C, is that what he called putting people back to work?
Well, he's got to think about the people that he put out of business, Charlton. The people that he took to court and sued him, but he had more money to withstand them during lawsuits. But also in lawsuits, Charlton, the federal judge that he called the racist and wasn't qualified because his parents were Mexican Americans did not allow to have Trump's attorneys expunge evidence that was submitted throughout his presidential campaign. That's going to be brought into evidence.
Yeah, he's going to be in a lawsuit as a president of the United States. He's going to be in a lawsuit.
And that questions me when people say, "Well, he knows how to bring jobs back," but he has federal lawsuits against him.
Yeah.
So what happens to a sitting president or a president-elect with federal lawsuits? What type of standard is there? Is that the reason why he wants Rudy Giuliani as Attorney General?
It's a joke.
So he can try to squash these lawsuits?
That's the only reason.
Let's be fair. If Donald Trump is the president of the people, then take your time in court like the people.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen to that, Big C. I know everybody loves what we do here, and I just want to say this final segment is sponsored by Beneath His Wings Foundation.org and also CYN Entertainment when it comes to promotions. Cynthia Evans, she's the best in Northern California. And just to touch off on the last few things before we break, because we head over to the Golden One Center for the beautiful arena that's just put up by the Golden One Center, Big C. The LA Lakers are in town against the Sacramento Kings in a few more games throughout the NBA as we mix sports and politics and also Hollywood together because it's real. I mean, this is what people really talk about. I love intelligent people. That's why Big C Sports is rated number 1 in the universe, Big C. The Lakers at the Kings tonight at 7:30 p.m. It's the Chicago. They're at Miami, and New Orleans will be at Milwaukee, and Golden State will be at Denver. So some great games happening in the world of the NBA tonight. I hope people will keep up the dialogue, keep being intelligent. You always learn more when you have differences of opinion. We sharpen minds that way. Don't just sit in the room where everybody agrees with you because you won't learn anything. I love being challenged. When I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. When I'm right, I'm saying check the facts. Nobody's perfect, but at least check the facts. And no matter who you are, I love this country. We got to keep this country strong, but we can't do it by being silent. Big C, your last thoughts tonight on the Lakers in town versus the Sacramento Kings or any other games in the NBA. What are you looking forward to most coming up on this great weekend of football? I know tonight we have the Cleveland Browns. They're actually trying to get a win against Baltimore Ravens, and hopefully they'll get their first win of the season, hopefully, Big C. But just your thoughts on what you're looking for in the final minute, Big C.
Well, that's 2 things you'd like to see tonight, Charlton. You would like to see the Cleveland Browns get off the slide and have a victory. You would like to see the Lakers put together a winning streak, Charlton.
Yeah.
But I think something is even more pronounced. The Chicago Cubs will most likely be the last championship team to visit the White House under President Obama.
Yeah.
A historic event. The first African-American president, the first World Series for a team in 108 years.
Wow.
And we're talking about African-American athletes visiting the White House. And with the divide that we've had politically in our country in the past week, I question how many African-American athletes will visit the White House after President Obama is gone over the next 4 seasons, Charlton.
Wow.
There's going to be championships that are lambasted with African-American athletes. We're going to have the NFL. We're going to have the NBA. We're going to have Major League Baseball. Hockey, can't really say that much about hockey.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at these teams, college basketball, college football, college baseball, women's basketball, how many African Americans are going to be willing to participate with their teams in going to the White House for what's become a tradition in America? How many are going to say, I don't want to participate in that tradition any longer because we're not all represented equally, Charles?
And when you think about that, Colin Kaepernick is being criticized, torn to pieces by the majority of the white media. But Donald Trump, who's been a bigot on this whole campaign and a sexist during this whole campaign, they're drinking moonshine and champagne as if, hey, we're going to take our country back now, Big C. No one's chastising Donald Trump the way a football player got chastised. He didn't grab a woman by the crotch. He didn't tell women he's going to sue them if they tell the public. He didn't threaten to sue the media, Big C. He didn't say that President Obama is illegitimate. He didn't say all that racist diatribe. But Donald Trump did. But who's protesting him, Big C? He's getting praised by Rush Limbaugh. But I just got to leave it at that because I got to take a hard break, Big C. And I love saying, no matter who you are, no matter what you are, this is the United States of America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. You have a right to free speech. You're not always going to be popular. People won't always like it, and that's okay too. But it is real talk. And every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, follow Charlton and Big C Sports. We are a passionate sports show, Big C. There's no excuse for domestic violence against women. I don't care who you are. If you see any man grabbing a woman by the crotch, call 911. That is not locker room talk. It's not acceptable. And as we always say, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.